Hello everyone, I'm Ben Way. Welcome to WorldPlayHQ, your home of expert analysis, match previews and fearless predictions as we help you build the perfect World Cup bracket. More upsets, more controversy, all host nations through, a World Cup heavyweight roars to life and a gentle reminder from a superstar that he and his beloved Portugal aren't done with yet. It's been a big few days and we're only just warming up. To break it all down, I'm joined by Spencer Siegel, an American sports addict living in Spain, and Glauco Diogenes, Brazil's proud representative in the DAZN 48. First up, I'm going to tell you about WorldPlayHQ. It's where a global football conversation turns into a global competition. The World Cup gives us the drama, but WorldPlay gives you a chance to prove you saw it coming. Watch the games, follow the experts, make your selections, build your bracket by June 30 and compete with fans all over the world for your chance to win. It's free to play. Follow the action at WorldPlayHQ. Brazil have locked away top spot in Group C, compliments of a 3-0 win against Scotland. Job done, Glauco. Well done.
Well, nice to meet you guys. Thank you to have this opportunity. Yes, more than this, I could say proud restored, you know, because the Brazilians was sad regarding the last how can I say, the last performance we had.
It was a little below par, it must be said, the previous game, but at least late in the game there were positives, the win, and Neymar returned and created 3 chances in 15 minutes. It had been 981 days since he last took to the pitch for Brazil. What does that mean for the team and more broadly for the country?
Well, as I said, it's a proud restoration, you can say, you know, because the first game against Morocco gave us Brazilians really, really bad impressions if you take in consideration the last performance we had in the World Cups, especially talking from 2014, you know.
Vinicius Jr. picked up a brace. Cunha added a third, 60 minutes in. Scotland will rue a couple of cataclysmic errors, especially for the opener. We'll have a look at what the future holds for them shortly. But the other Group C game saw Morocco take on Haiti. Despite a couple of scares, Morocco's class shone through, didn't it, Spencer?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Their professionalism shone through in the end because Haiti did their job in terms of making it difficult. I think they made it difficult on just about every team. Even the 3-0 against Brazil was not easy for them. But Morocco are a class side. A lot of people are calling them a dark horse. I don't believe that to be the case, especially when you make a semifinal in the World Cup previously. So important for them to get this professional win. Saibari missed an earlier chance in the game and then came back and nailed the one that was important. So big 4-2 win for them.
As you touch on, twice Haiti had the lead. The second of their goals by Wilson Isidore, a nomination for goal of the tournament, a spider killer top corner. They'll leave the tournament with that highlight, but the journey ends in the group stage. Brazil top the group on goal difference. As for how that affects your bracket, well, they'll meet the second seed from Group F, which is currently Japan. Morocco lock in second spot, and that means they'll play Netherlands, assuming the Dutch beat Tunisia. That's a tough ask for Morocco to kick off the elimination phase, Glauco, but it's not beyond them, up against the Netherlands first up potentially.
Yes, right. Morocco has a tough, really tough team and impracticable, let's say that way. Because if you consider what happened in the first half between IT, you never should they could be up front of this. And Morocco will surprise a lot of things, big selections around the world. I have no doubt about this.
As for Scotland, the 3 goals conceded against Brazil, that could prove costly. So 8 third-place teams are going to go through to the elimination phase. 4 points is going to ensure progression. So Bosnia-Herzegovina will be safe, compliments of a 3-1 win against Qatar. 3 points, suddenly you're relying on goal difference. And currently Scotland sits 7th, but with so many countries yet to play their final group game, you'd say they're unlikely. So adjust your brackets accordingly. In other results, Mexico became the first host nation since Italy in 1990 to win all 3 group games without conceding 1 goal. They beat Czechia 3-0 in front of their adoring fans in Mexico City. They were amazing scenes, Spencer. I suddenly need to go and see a football game in Mexico City. It looks like a bucket list item.
Well, and you're lucky enough to get that opportunity now if you are there for the World Cup and you want to see Mexico play in the World Cup because they did their job. We already knew that they had done their job by winning the group, which ensures them a chance to play their round of 32 game in Mexico and potentially a round of 16 game there as well, which we can't say the same about Canada, which we'll get to in a second. But maybe the moment for me was Guillermo Ochoa getting a chance to play in his home country. He came on late in that game, his sixth World Cup. It's just an incredible achievement for a guy that means so much to his country.
It is, and we have seen several pick up that record through the course of the 2026 World Cup. Mexico top the group, and they'll meet the third seed from C, E, F, H or I. Remarkably, South Africa go from last to second. Compliments of a 1-0 win against Korea Republic. They've booked a date with Canada in the round of 32. Who would you lean to there, Glauco? South Africa against one of the host nations in Canada.
Right, man. Yeah, exactly. You know, the Africans have the same questions that Latin usually have. The mental issue. If you start to get confidence little by little, game by game, you can surprise the world. And I truly believe the South Africans go for it like Brazil do.
Gil, they certainly had to and did with success there in their final group game. In Group B, Switzerland handed Canada their first loss of the tournament and secured top spot in the process. The 2-1 win left the Swiss on 7 points. They're going to meet the third seed from Group E, F, G, I or J. As for the co-host Canada, they finished second ahead of Bosnia-Herzegovina on goal difference. This will be the first time Canada progressed beyond the group stage at a World Cup. And while that result didn't go their way, Spencer, that is a remarkable achievement in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a massive achievement for the country and their football history. It is just a shame, though, that they don't get their next game at home because there is going to be a game played in Canada and it's going to be Switzerland instead of Canada, which is a bit of a weird circumstance for them. They do get South Africa, as we've been talking about, which is, I would say, still a lighter round of 32 game than what they could have previously had. But here's the problem. Not only do they have to play that game in Los Angeles, not winning the group means that their potential round of 16 opponent could be either Morocco or the Netherlands, and that is certainly not easy.
No, it is not. Let's have a look back at match day 13. Ghana tamed the Three Lions in a 0-0 draw that has rocked Group L. We'll start with the Black Stars, another team adopting the low block with great success, Glauco. I know being from Brazil, you expect football to be played a certain way, but these defensive tactics, they have proven fruitful so far for some teams in the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's difficult for the biggest one in terms of different school of football kept the same strength and the same confidence. Sometimes if the game don't plays in the way you think should be, you start to get troubles, especially in a short tournament like a World Cup. We know that very well. So I believe it's better to begin worse and then get strength little by little, as I said. That's a problem. When you start so good and then you come back a few steps, challenging weekly opponents, you know, that could affect the mental issue of the players. Let's see in the next round.
Well, it certainly can dent the confidence if you do struggle against a team that's very defensively minded and parking the bus, as the term would suggest. The quality in the final third was sorely lacking for England. In the end, they were lucky to escape with a point, and Ghana were controversially denied a penalty. What did you make of that challenge from Ezri Konsa late in the second half, Spencer? I have my thoughts, so I might as well declare them to you. That was a clear penalty.
Yes, I agree with you. It certainly looks like a penalty, but there was one problem that I saw with this play that I don't think enough people are calling out, and maybe it's just because we don't see it that often, but the referee to me was so far out of position to make that call. He was so far behind the play And so it makes it a lot tougher to go back into the VAR room and figure out whether or not it's a penalty and, have the clear and obvious evidence to be able to overturn it. I agree with you. I think in the end you should call it a penalty, but if the ref's in the right spot, we're probably not having this conversation anyway. And I'll say this about England, they created enough chances to win that game. Harry Kane had one late in the game that we all saw that he should have put home. They had a lot of chances on set pieces. The thing is, I think Ghana are the most organized and physical defense that anyone in this tournament has to offer. And that goes for the big clubs too. All of the big nations, I think, are good, but not as physical and as physically organized as Ghana were against England. That was a masterclass defensively.
It is hard to argue with that when you look at those stats. So a reality check, a valuable point, but 78.9% of possession is the most by any team that's failed to score a goal since records were first taken in 1966. They had 19 shots for the game, but just 2 were on target. And in the end, the only stat that matters, the scoreline 0-0. Now, the other Group L fixture saw Croatia 1-0 winners against Panama, a fitting result on a milestone night for captain Luka Modric. He became just the 4th player in history to reach 200 internationals. What a star he's been, Glauco.
Yes, amazing start. You can see I have my also little Modric right here with me. And Brazilians are saying, especially the journalists and the specialists around here, the World Cup of the legends. And they are delivering everything we are expecting. And it's a huge pleasure to see Ronaldo, Modric, Messi, and also Neymar back into this amazing stage of football. Hope today continue star and give us all we deserve about football.
Absolutely right. It's just been a celebration, hasn't it, of these legends of the game. So for Panama, the defeat ensures their tournament will end in the group stage. As for the rest, well, England will still hope to top the group as they play Panama in their final group game. That would mean they play the 3rd place team from Group E, H, I, J or K. But if they have a hiccup and they drop to 2nd, that could really impact your bracket. They'd meet the 2nd team from Group K, which is currently Portugal. And you mentioned Cristiano Ronaldo. His men would need to beat Colombia to overtake them in Group K, and they'll take confidence from their 5-0 romp of Uzbekistan, won't they, Spencer? But it should be pointed out, they were expected to win comfortably against Uzbekistan.
Yeah, and I think we can all have a lot of admiration for the stars of this tournament because, as you said, they're here to play, and Ronaldo's one of them. But I don't know if Cristiano Ronaldo looking into the camera and saying, "I'm back" after a game against Uzbekistan is really the move that instills all the confidence. Listen, maybe he'll prove us wrong against Colombia, but the thing is, you got that game against Colombia. If you don't win that game, you just talked about it, it's potentially England or Ghana in the next round, in the round of 32. And if I'm Portugal, I don't want either of those matchups to happen. So if it doesn't work in the first half or the first 60 minutes especially, you got to try something else because he's going to start most likely, but Rafa Leao needs to get his opportunity. He showed he can score 2. He scored a really nice goal against Uzbekistan. Joao Felix is a good, more false 9 type of player that I think they can utilize. If it doesn't work with Ronaldo, they got to try to turn the page quickly.
I think it was proof to me that there has been pressure for Cristiano, and clearly he is. The headlines are hitting home. As we take a look at the Group K table, the Democratic Republic of the Congo could draw level with Portugal on points with a win against Uzbekistan, but they're unlikely to bridge the gap on goal difference. So the top 2 look locked. A draw would be enough for Colombia to retain top spot for those preparing their bracket. That means they'll meet the 3rd qualifier from Group D, E, I, J or L. Let's turn our attention to the upcoming games on day 15. Group E back in action. Curacao, Cote d'Ivoire and Ecuador versus Germany. Germany has locked in top spot. A win for Cote d'Ivoire against Curacao would ensure they finish 2nd. A draw could even be enough as long as Ecuador don't beat Germany. Now, Curacao also dare to dream, though. If they beat Cote d'Ivoire and Germany beat Ecuador, it will be them qualifying 2nd and meeting the 2nd seed from Group I in the round of 32, Norway or France. Can you see a surprise of any variety amongst those 2 games, Glauco?
Yes, I can see. I think Ecuador can make a surprise. I saw a good and consistent game from Ecuador, and perhaps could be a match against Germany. And regarding Curaçao and Côte d'Ivoire, I truly believe in Costa do Marfim, Côte d'Ivoire. No surprises here.
Okay, in Group F, Japan plays Sweden and Tunisia face the Dutch. As it stands, the Netherlands top the table on goals scored. They'll hope for a big win against the already eliminated Tunisia to lock things away and book a date with Morocco. The other game has big implications for your bracket though, because whoever finishes second in Group F will play Brazil. A win or draw for Japan would ensure a top two finish for them. A loss for Sweden would leave them in danger of elimination, remarkably. A draw would see them through as the third seed, and a win would ensure a top two finish. We have 6 games on day 15, and these are the Group D fixtures as we have a look at them. How will the USA approach the game against Turkey, given they've already locked in top spot, Spencer?
Well, I think most people are talking about this being a chance for rest, mainly Christian Pulisic, of course, who went down with an injury in the first game, and they want to make sure they can try to get him back to full health for the knockout stages. There's most likely going to be 19 days between games for him. So if he sits right now, he can play in the knockouts. But I think there's also something to be said for finding the balance, because rest is nice, but in tournaments like these, it's all about form. Can you stay in form? Can you continue your hot start that the US have obviously had? I just think that if you rest too many players, you run the risk of actually falling out of the form that you're in. So considering that there's 5 days or more between games, get out there, go play your football and see what happens.
Yeah, it is a tough balance, isn't it? Protecting the legs and trying to maintain that momentum. So with the US top, Turkey already out, Australia and Paraguay meet to decide second. A win or draw will see the Socceroos remain the 2 seed, and a loss could well end their World Cup. As for day 16, some tournament heavyweights have it all to play for. In Group I, Haaland's Norway against Mbappe's France in a game that could severely alter your bracket. How do you see this one going, Glauco?
I see with a great expectation 2 giants, Haaland and Mbappe, and more than 6 goals. That was my predictions for my games around here with my friends, and I can barely wait to see these legends, the young legends of the World Cup, the 2 kings of the future of football, playing against each other. That's, for me, will be the most interesting game during the last 3 rounds. Let's see. But a round of surprise will come to us.
Yeah, I can't wait. The winner tops the group and meets a third qualifier. If it's a draw, France top the group and Norway meet the second seed from Group E next, which is currently Côte d'Ivoire. In Group H, surprise packet Cabo Verde play Saudi Arabia and Uruguay meet Spain. Remarkably, Spencer, Cabo Verde could still top the group if Spain get rolled and they get ahead of Uruguay on goal difference. What a story that would be.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but it's a great story. I mean, it would be something for sure. They play such positive football, and it's so refreshing to see that game that they managed to pull something out of, or both of them, I should say, against both Uruguay and Spain. They really go for it, and they have that confidence, and it's a list of players that are slowly and surely getting their recognition. We talked about Bocinha recently. Pico Lopez is a guy who was born and raised in Ireland and was sent a message in Portuguese on LinkedIn back in 2018 that he didn't understand, asking to play for the national team. And then that same message, after he dismissed that as spam, arrived 9 months later in English. And that's the only time when he said, oh, this is real. Maybe I should give this a shot. And they have done everything right so far. There's no reason that they won't have the confidence to go out and at least achieve what's within their control.
Finally, let's have a look at Group G, guys. Egypt, Iran and New Zealand, Belgium. Belgian fans were buoyant when the draw was announced. Now there's concern. A point could see Belgium through as the second seed, assuming Egypt win, but a win is the only thing that assures them and the fact that we see them in the round of 32. That'll do us for episode 6. We thank you very much for your company, guys. Thank you, Spencer. Thank you, Glauco. Enjoy the tournament. You've heard from the experts, guys. You've watched the games. Make your selections, build your bracket by June 30, and compete with fans all over the world for your chance to win. Register at worldplay.com.